It was a little entrance that seemed to never have been opened since the house was built. So entirely was it covered with dust and dirt. But the well-oiled hinges and locks told quite another story. This door was a mockery to the concierge, for whose vigilance and jurisdiction it was free, and, like that famous portal in the Arabian Nights, opening at the sesame of Ali Baba, it was wont to swing backwards at a cabalistic word or a concerted tap from without the sweetest voices or whitest fingers in the world. At the end of a long corridor, with which the door communicated, and which formed the antechamber, was, on the right, Albert's breakfast room, looking into the court, and on the left the salon, looking into the garden. Shrubs and creeping plants covered the windows, and hid from the garden and the court these two apartments. The only rooms into which, as they were on the ground floor, the prying eyes of the curious could penetrate. On the floor above were similar rooms, with the addition of a third, formed out of the antechamber. These 3 rooms were a salon, a boudoir, and a bedroom. The salon downstairs was only an Algerian divan for the use of smokers. The boudoir upstairs communicated with the bedchamber by an invisible door on the staircase. It was evident that every precaution had been taken. Above this floor was a large atelier, which had been increased in size by pulling down the partitions, a pandemonium in which the artist and the dandy strove for preeminence. There were collected and piled up all of Albert's successive caprices. Hunting horns, bass viols, flutes, a whole orchestra, for Albert had not a taste but a fancy for music. Easels, palettes, brushes, and pencils, for music had been succeeded by painting. Foils, boxing gloves, broadswords, and single sticks, for, following the example of the fashionable young men of the time, Albert de Morcerf cultivated, with far more perseverance than music and drawing, the 3 arts that complete the dandy's education, i.e., fencing, boxing, and single stick. And it was here that he received Grisier, Cooks, and Charles Labouchet. Well, we are really getting a detailed map of Albert's dwellings. No fronds to be seen. Interesting. Our one bit of perspective of this story has left the building. We don't even have Albert right now, to be honest. Finding it hard to comment on just descriptions of a place. There was one line here that made me cock an eyebrow. After describing the ground floor with the antechamber and the breakfast room and the salon, and then the upstairs with the 3 rooms of a salon, a boudoir, and a bedroom, it says, the boudoir upstairs communicated with the bedchamber by an invisible door on the staircase. It was evident that every precaution had been taken. Precaution against what? That I don't fully understand what precaution they're talking about. Do they mean just this is a very well thought out floor plan? The invisible door on the staircase connected to the bedchamber. Maybe this is a cultural thing or a thing of the time where you didn't want the entrance to your bedroom to be known? Maybe? I mean, for some reason? I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into it. Just was a line that made me cock an eyebrow. We get the mention of 3 new characters, Grisier, Cooks, and Charles Labouchet. It was here that he received them. So I'm assuming tomorrow's episode we are going to be introduced to these 3 men. The other big sentiment here, and I begrudgingly relate to this, the last paragraph of Albert and his many hobbies that he has picked up over time. Over on Movie Memory Machine, last season we did a movie called The Brothers Bloom, in which Rachel Weisz plays an heiress to a massive fortune and lives in a mansion by herself. She's very bored with life and has picked up all of these different hobbies. This is kind of what this section reminded me of. And I'm going to differentiate myself from Albert here just for my own sanity. Like, Albert seems to be picking up these tastes and these activities for social reasons to kind of maybe make an impression. Doesn't seem like he has a legitimate interest in them. Just whatever is en vogue at the time, he goes and buys everything he needs for it. Maybe learns a tiny bit, and then never touches the stuff again. I at least have a genuine interest in anything that I invest myself, my time, my money into. Do I go over the top? Sometimes I do. Yes, I will admit that. But I never have dived into something because it was the popular thing to do. So I'm not Albert. Why are you calling me Albert? I have nothing in common with Albert. Stop making the comparison. Who are these three men? What are they all gonna get up to? Maybe smoking in that downstairs salon. That will be my guess. There's only one way to find out, and that's to join me here tomorrow with a little bit more of Book 39. And yet, the mystery continues. No answer as of yet. Until then, okay, bye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.